I'm Kamalinder Kaur. I'm representing a presentation on network layer address mapping protocols. So what I am going to cover today, that is the OSI model and the brief introduction of the OSI model, then the functions and the protocols of the network layer, and then the major topic which I am going to cover today, that is the address mapping protocols, or we can call it as a mapping protocols for network layer, both for IPv4 as well as for the IPv6. So IPv4 comprises of the ARP, that is the address resolution protocol, reverse address resolution protocol, dynamic host configuration protocol, mapping protocol at the network layer. IPv6 is the neighbor discovery protocol. Then the next we are going to cover, that is the brief introduction of the OSI model, as the network layer is at the third level of the OSI model. So OSI model is open systems interconnection. And this is having a 7 layers. The OSI model comprises of 7 layers. First is your physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and the last is application layer. Similarly, if we talk about what the data content or the data units, we are working on the various network layers, on the various OSI model layers. So first, we are talking about the bits, that is the synchronization of bits occurs at the physical layer. Then as we move to the data link layer, there the bits converts, or we call to the group of the bits, and that bits are called as a frames. Then frames comprises of with a collection of frames called as a packets at the network layer, and then the packets comprises of a different segments that will be called the same data we are calling as a segments at the transport layer, because we are making a data packets in a fragmented form. So these are called as a segments at the transport layer. After transport layer, what the data units we are using that are called as a data as at the session layer, also at the presentation layer, and also at the application layer. So the major role played by the first 3 layers, that is the physical layer, data link layer, and the network layer, is called as a media layers. These are also called as a media layers. And if I say the above 4 layers, that is the transport, session, presentation, and application layer, these are called as a host layers. So let's talk about the network layer. Network layer is lying at the 3rd position of the OSI model, and it is lying between the transport layer and the data link layer. So what the basic functions of the network layer are, that is routing and the handling the data, then transferring the data packets from one location to another, then the delivery of the packets across the different networks, then providing the logical addressing and ensuring that what the data you are sending is to be placed at a should be read to the proper destination, and it should have a proper significance of the data. So this is a brief introduction we have covered about the network layer. So if I talk about the OSI model, the various the data sending and receiving occurs both ways. So let us talk about the functions and the protocols of the network layer. The basic function is the logical addressing, then the routing, then the packet forwarding. So after the logical addressing, once we have covered at the network layer, that is a logical addressing. Logical addressing means that is IP addressing. IP addressing comprises of the various network classes, that is class A, class B, class C. So what the network classes, that is the mapping occurs in the form of a class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. And these are called your address classes. And each class is having a 32-bit size. As IP address provides a data combination in the form of octets, and it is a 32 bits, which are combination of 4 combinations are there, and each of 4 comprises of 8 bits. So we can say that it is a combination of 8-bit, dot 8-bit, dot 8-bit, dot 8-bit. And as an example, I have taken here, that is 192.168.1.1. This is the IP address which will be related to any class out of this A, B, C, D, and E. So the address space which is used by the IPv4 is 32 bits. So in order to find the total address space, we can say that is 2 raised to power 32 is equivalent to this amount, and this is the total address space which is can be covered or which is being covered by the IPv4 protocol. And IPv4 protocol is basically 32 bits. And another is 2 raised to power 128, that is IPv6 protocol, which comprises of 128 bits. And it is approximately 3.4 into 10 raised to power 38. So as well as the functions description is there, I'm also covering the various protocols which are occurring at each and every function of the network layer. So the logical addressing has two protocols, that is IPv4 and IPv6. Though IPv4 and IPv6 depends upon again the requirement where you want to use it. So the address mapping protocols which are required in order to do the mapping between the MAC address and the IP address. In order to do the mapping, so we require the mapping protocols, that is address mapping protocols. And address mapping protocols, if I talk about the IPv4, they are ARP and RARP. If I talk about IPv6, then IPv6 has NDP, that is Neighbor Discovery Protocol, right? Then moving to the next function of the network layer, that is a routing. Routing is the major concept of the network layer, that is it has to choose a path through which path my source data can be sent to the destination, and it is to be received without any error. That should be erroneous data, erroneous free data. So the router are playing a major role over here in order to do the routing of my packet from A location to the B location, or we can say that is a source to the destination. So the various protocols which are occurring at the routing function of this network layer, that is the OSPF, that is the Open Shortest Path First, then BGP, that is a Border Gateway Protocol, and a RIP, that is a Routing Information Protocol. Then moving to the third function of a network layer, that is a packet forwarding. Packet forwarding means when you are sending a data from source to destination, we are sending some packets, because at the network layer, as previously we have covered, that is the data which is to be sent, should be in the form of frames at data link layer and in the form of a packet at a network layer. So we are talking about the packet which has to be transferred from source to the destination. So this is the packet forwarding. Which scheme of packet forwarding we are using here? That is a packet switching. So packet switching is a technique which we use in order to encapsulate our data, and we have to send it to the destination. So moving to the next function, that is fragmentation and reassembly. Now once we have made a packet selection, we have made we have chosen which technique we are going to use in order to send the packet, then we do the fragmentation. Fragmentation, why? Because we want our data should be splitted and it should be read to in a smaller parts, smaller units, and it must read to the destination with a proper significance. So the fragmentation and reassembling. Fragmentation and reassembling used over here, that is to handle the packet sizes. Like if we have to send the data, and there should be a limit to pass that data. That data should have a proper size. There should be a proper packet size in order to handle that data correctly, so that there should be no any other errorless data can enter and convert my meaning of the original data. So we have to handle the fragmentation of packets into the smaller pieces, and at the destination these fragments are again reassembled so that they can be converted into the original packet. Then the next function is called your error handling and diagnostics. So in order to make whatever the error is occurring in the message while sending that data, we have to find it also, and after finding it we also has to diagnose it. So once we have handled the data, means we have recovered the data, we have finded out the data, and we want to make a error report for that. And once we have made an error report, then we have to do a diagnosis of that. then we have to find a solution for that also. So the protocol which is playing a major role over here, that is a ICMP protocol, that is an Internet Control Message Protocol, and it reports the errors and issues with the packet delivery. So next function of the network layer is a congestion control. Congestion control means there should be no traffic while we are sending the data. There should be no buffering of the data. Like once we are sending the packets and the packet has not been reached to the destination, still we are sending the packets, and it has created a buffer over there. So if it creates a buffer, then there will be a problem of a congestion. So we have to control that also. So the major role played by this network layer is also, we can say in another terms, that is the network load management. So the network layer can participate in the managing the network load and also ensuring what the data we are using, that is efficient. So next up, mapping protocols at the network layer. The third content which I am going to cover over here, that is the various mapping protocols which I can use in order to send the data. So that mapping address protocols are, that is your working at the different layer, working at the different data bit size, that is IPv4 and IPv6. So IPv4 and IPv6 comprising, having a difference only on the carrying the number of bits, that is it carries 32 bits and it having a header packet format of 128 bits. So on the basis of accommodating the large number of data, we have categorized into two forms of the mapping protocols which are working at the network layer, because the network layer plays the same role as well as at the IPv4 as well as at the IPv6. So the mapping protocols which are working at the IPv4, that is ARP, that is Address Resolution Protocol, and another is RARP, that is a Reverse Address Resolution Protocol. Then the third and the fourth is, that is another further subseeded version of your RARP, that is a bootstrap and a bootstrap protocol and a dynamic host configuration protocol, that is DHC. So if I talk about the IPv6 protocol, that is your NDP, that is Neighbor Discovery Protocol, which works at the IPv6. So it is playing the dual role for address resolution also plus neighbor discovery. That is where the neighbor is lying and it has to discover that neighbor also. So we can say that these mapping protocols at the network layer are playing a major role, and it is essential for translating and resolving the network addresses to facilitate the communication between the devices properly, and so that our data from the source to the destination from A to B reaches in a very smooth manner. So let's talk about the next protocol. First, which we discussed in the last slide, that is a address mapping protocol, ARP. So ARP is Address Resolution Protocol. In short way, we can call it as a ARP. And ARP is working with the concept of having IP address, but don't know the MAC address. I know the IP address of that device, but I don't know exactly the MAC address. MAC address which is at the logical layer, that is data link layer. Data link layer pe what the data we are having, that is physical address, or we can call it as a MAC address. And if we move to the network layer, so network layer we are having a IP address, that is the physical, or we can call it as a IP addresses or logical addresses. So ARP is used to map an IP address with the MAC address. I know the IP address of that device and I have to map it with the MAC address. So why this is playing a crucial role over here? The devices on a local network use the MAC addresses to communicate at the layer 2, but they use IP addresses to route the packets at the layer 3. So that's why there is a mapping which is required to map MAC address to the IP address and vice versa, IP address to the MAC address. So IP to MAC and MAC to IP. So this is a MAC address which is 12-digit hexadecimal digits, and if I talk about the IP addressing, this is an IP address which is comprises of the three class A, B, C, D, E classes and having a 4-byte combination in the form of 8 bits each, having a dot for a separation of that. So we can say, if I talk about the dotted decimal notation, so that the class A is having 0 to 127, then 120, this is basically 0 to 126, and 127 is for your loophole, looping back, or we can call as a loop back addressing purpose it is reserved. Then class B, that is 128 to 191, then class C 192 to 223, then class D 224 to 239, then class E, that is 240 to 255. Why we are this is total, that is 256 covering the data, so we have categorized from 0 to 255. That's why the whole addresses of these classes of the IPv4 are being covered under 0 to 255 addresses through the various classes. So now move to the ARP working, how the ARP actually works. If I send, this is a IP header packet. This is a ARP header packet which is 32 bits and it is having a hardware type, protocol type, hardware length, protocol length, operation which you are using. Either you are using ARP for sending a request or you are receiving the ARP reply. Then sender hardware address, sender protocol address, target hardware address and the target protocol address. So ARP works in the form like, if I know the address, if I know the IP address of any device or of any host and I want to know its MAC address, so that I can send my packet, so that I can send my data. So what it does, when a device wants to communicate with another device at the same local network and it sends a ARP request. So if A is sending a request to B, and it is not directly that request being assigned by or being read to the B protocol or to the B device, it must be broadcasted during this journey, and once it is being broadcasted, whosoever is having this IP address, this will reply that I have this IP address and my IP address is this, and you want my MAC address, so get this, this is my MAC address. So this is what we are saying, that is, it sends out an ARP request packet to all the devices on the network asking who has this IP address. That is, this is again a x.x.x.x means 8 bits data over here, 8 bit data over here, 8 bit over here, 8 bit over here, like 191.16.18.1. So this could be a one IP address in the terms of x.x.x.x. So it is sending a request. So if whosoever is sending a request, this is giving a IP address and wants to get the MAC address from that. So the device with the specified IP address responds with an ARP replying containing its MAC address. Whosoever would be having that IP address, it will send its own MAC address, that this is my IP address, I am sending my MAC address back to this. And that MAC address will be again hexadecimal hexadecimal representation. So the requesting device then updates its ARP table with this information for the future communication. So when it reaches to this, then it is covering your IP to address to the MAC address. For example, this is a device which is AAA, and this has to send the request to the BBB, and which is or we can call it as a, this is a device, this is H1 device, this is H2 device, or we can call it as a A1, B2, A1, A2, and it is having a MAC address. I know this MAC address, but I don't know the MAC address of a BBB. Okay, so this, what it is sending, I know my IP address, but I don't know your MAC address. So request is being sent from 192.168.1.1 to 192.168.1.2. That I know your IP address, that is, it is 168.1.2, but I don't know the MAC address. So if we directly do, so directly we can do a ping command. Simply on the command prompt we can write a ping. Then after writing a ping, we should know the address, IP address of that device to whom which we want to do the pairing or to we want to connect. So if we actually want to do the address mapping, to check that address mapping, we can check it by using a command on the ARP, on the command prompt, that is ARP space -A, and it will give me, this is the IP address of that device to whom I want to connect, and it is giving me in a return in the form of a reply from that device that this is my MAC address. So this is a brief what the destination is sending to this MAC address. It is not replying, it is not directly sending to this this H2. It is rather broadcasting this, that's why FFFFF 6-time combination of this, that is a 12 Fs are there, which are used for the broadcasting, used as a broadcasting address. So broadcast, and once it is being broadcasted through the A device, and then B device will reply, and it sends a reply to the destination A that this is me, that is I am having a IP address 192.168.1.2, and this is the my MAC address, and I am sending this address to you. So if I visualize this with the Wireshark also, so this is how the request is being sent. What the protocol I am using, that is ARP, and its length of the data, and this is the information part which is exactly to be sent like this, that is who has this IP address, can you tell me your MAC address, and this is the request which is to be sent by the source device. That is 192.168.1.1, and in a return when it replies back, then this is sending, this is a source address over here, because B is sending, H2 is sending a reply to the H1, that is 192.168.1.2 is my IP address, and I am sending my MAC address back to you. So next is the reverse address resolution protocol, which is having a reverse working as per your ARP. So RARP is used to map, that is your MAC address to the IP address. I know the MAC address, but I don't know the IP address. So it works in a reverse manner. That's why its name is called reverse address resolution protocol. Here there is one major difference, that lies a RARP server. Server is having being a router, is maintaining its routing table. So it sends its data to this server that yes, I have this IP address and I have its MAC address too. So when it finds the MAC address, it returns back the IP address to that. So nowadays this reverse address resolution protocol has been obsolete. So we can not use it for the modern technology. So that's why we are using Bootstrap and DHCP protocol. So Bootstrap is DHCP, that is a dynamic host configuration. This protocol is sending the IP addresses automatically. Dynamically it assigns the IP addresses to the devices, and then the whole process which was done with the RARP, the same procedure this DHCP works. Then Bootstrap protocol is also representing the same function which was RARP was doing. So this is having, again the Bootstrap server is there, it sends the requested reply and it return again the IP address back to this. So then the next, these were the protocols which we were discussing for the IPv4. Now this is the protocol which is to be discussed for the IPv6 protocol. This is called your neighbor discovery protocol. Here it will do the work of both the ARP as well as the RARP. So I can say this is a combination of ARP as well as RARP. That is address resolution, plus it is giving an additional function, adding additional function to this, that is it is also doing the discovery of the neighbor, where it is actually lying. So this is all about the protocols, mapping address protocols working at the network layer, both for the IPv4 and the IPv6. Thank you.